I've taken off the rubber thing that was on here because it wasn't fitted very well anyway, and the spray paint didn't dry, so it was very sticky and a complete mess. So I've just pulled it off. I think if you're going to put a metal curtain rail onto that thing anyway, then the rubber thing is redundant, so you might as well take it off and save a little space coming into the van. So now I've got to decide what I've got to do with this. I think I might just clean it off and give it a bit of spray paint, just neaten it up and then fit the rail. So it's now cleaned off, and I just have to get some primer and then put a coat of spray paint on. The next job we've got to do with the curtain tract is the back window, the door, back door. And we're going to go from there to there. So we've cut our track down. That was 119 centimetres for the back door. And we've got a hole at that end, but we didn't have a hole at that end, so I've drilled that one with number 3, the second one, number 3 metal drill bit. So we're going to drill pilot holes with the drill and the number 2 drill bit, and then use those. I've nearly finished fitting the rail at the back. I've cut it quite short because you can't do such a tight angle at the end of the rail, but it should be alright. And I lost the self-tapping screws that came with these rails, so these are a little bit bigger than they should be, but I think it's just the head that's bigger, but they've gone in okay. I started off doing the middle one. I got that one fitted, and then I marked where I wanted the others to go, and then I didn't put the rail up. I just screwed the self-tapping screws in without the rail, and then I put the rail back up and put a bit of this silicone type stuff in. It's kind of glue actually, but it's a little bit like silicone, into each hole, and then put the screw back in again because I don't want to have any rust problems. So that one's just going to have the screw go in, so I'll put that there, and that should go in easily enough because I've already fitted it once. Wipe it off a bit. And that's that one done. I've measured this out to 142.5. That's the length that I'm using to go around half of the cab. I don't want to cut any off this end because there's a hole there. So try to not cut a hole off. When you cut the track down, try to not cut a hole off. So I've cut off this end because the hole is quite a distance from the end. So I'm going to cut that much off, and that means I don't cut a hole off. So I've marked the middle of the curve. The curve's about that wide, that long. That's the middle of it. And to make sure I bend it the right way. You probably can't see my head right now, but you don't need to. So, oh God, it's my jeans. Want to be bending it this way, so that the track is on the inside of the bend. So I've just got to heat it up. And just do a tiny little bit at a time and keep moving. Really small bit. I just want to do this tiniest amount, so it's just a very gradual thing. Put it on the hard part of your knee. And then it's going to have to be a right angle in the end. Keep holding out, having a look to check that you're still in the middle. Oh, I've just realised you probably can see right down my top. I'm going to put it on the floor to make sure I'm not going askew with. No, I'm alright. If you bought some curtains for your camper van and you have a bag of hooks and you don't know how many hooks each curtain needs, you don't know how many hooks to allocate to each curtain, then the way to work it out is to first of all count how many hooks you've got. I had 130 hooks, and then look at the receipt for your curtains, and it will tell you the widths of the curtains. So you just work it out. There's 2 times 78, 4 times 51 and 2 times 40, and that will give you the total width. My total's 440 inches. And then you write down, I've done this drawing so that I can just put labels on each curtain and make it more simple. You can then, so you need to find out how many hooks, say the 40-inch curtains, there are 2 40-inch curtains, how many hooks does each one need? So you just say 4C divided by 440 times by 130, because the 40 divided by 440 will give you the proportion of the total width, and then you just times that by the number of hooks that you've got. And mine was, God, I can't read it from there, 11.7. I've rounded it up to 12. So 2 at 12, and then the 51 divided by 440 times by 130, it was 14.9, so I rounded it up to 15. And there are 4 of those, and then the 78 I rounded up to 23. And then you check, add them all up, and make sure that you've got enough. You might have to round some down, but luckily mine added up to 130, and that's how you do it. I've had to make an amendment to a correction to my calculations because I realised I didn't have 130 of the little runners. Those are what the curtain hooks go into to run along the track. I've only got 125 of them, and as I've got an even number of curtains, I've rounded down to 124, and I've redone my calculations, and this is what I've ended up with. 11 hooks and runners for each back curtain, 15 for the side ones, and 21 each at the top. If you want to know how to space the hooks out, you know how many hooks you've got. This is one of the side curtains, and I've got 15 hooks for this curtain. What you do is first of all you put a hook in the ends. So in that one. Make sure you're not hooking onto these bits of string, because that will not be strong enough. You have to go into this little pocket here. not those. There's a little pocket here. Sorry, the camera's not very good. Got bad lighting. There's a little pocket there. That's where you need to be hooking the hook down into. So you put one in there, the closest to the end, and then one there at the other end. So that's used up 2. So then if you've also got 50, you worked out that you've got 15, so you have 13 left. And then you need to work out how to space the rest of them. And the way I do it is I estimate how many is it going to be. So maybe you think, well, is it going to be 7? So you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 1. You count 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2. And you go through it. And if you run out of space, then you know that 7 is too many. You try, if it's way too many, then go down to 5. I ended up discovering that 5, it was close to 5, between 4 and 5, but it was close to 5. So most of them I spaced at 5, and a couple I did at 4. So that's how you do it. To fit the curtain hook, which is shaped like that, you get this is the hook part that will end up going at the top, but you go up and down, so you don't go for these strings. You don't want to hook onto these strings. Get to those in a minute. You want to get, if my camera can focus on it, hook that under, there's a little pocket there in between the strings. Always stick to in between the strings, so you hook up in between the pocket, and then you turn it like that, and then you push up so that it looks like that. And the strings, when you get your curtains, if you order your curtains, like I got somebody else to order the curtains, to make my curtains, because it's a pretty big box standard thing. I can make curtains, made lots of curtains, but it's the only thing that I've got somebody else to do on the van so far. You would have thought I would have done it, but I know they're easy to make. Curtains are easy to make, and I trusted somebody else to do it, and I worked out that the cost of finding the material, the right material, buying the material, and the black outlining, it wouldn't have been much different to actually paying somebody else to make them. So I thought it was sensible to pay somebody. So I've just knotted. You have to find the 2 strings, pull them out, and put a little knot in, and that stops them from being pulled. From the fabric from being pulled and the strings coming down here. Now that's important. On the campervan, usually your curtains won't need to be gathered. If they do need to be gathered, then you have to tie off the ends. Well, tie off the ends anyway. It's just best to tie off on both ends. And then if you need to gather them, you can do this, like that. You just pull it like that. And then you hold here, you squeeze, and then you lift up the curtain and you see if it's the right width. And if it is, there are various ways you can do it, but you just pull it a little bit more, make a loop and tie it off like that, and pull it quite tight enough so it's not going to come out, but loose enough so that if you need to undo it, you just pull that string. You can also do that and tie a little bow. Just make sure that if you need to change it, you can undo it, but it's tight enough to be secure while it's a curtain. But like I said, most of the time you won't have to gather the curtain. So there you go. So I've got 2 pieces of track in the cab. One goes from about there and runs round to there, and the curtain is pulled over there. This trim I have made using cut up bits of scrap fabric. I have fitted my track here. I don't know if you can see it, I'm probably covering the microphone again. quite low. You see there, it's quite low because I'm not. You can see the hole there is where you're supposed to fit the. That's the kind of the angle thing, the elbow type thing for the sun visors. But my sun visors were really old, and I found it impossible to find a replacement pair. So I'm not going to bother with sun visors. I'll come up with a different system. I'll create something else one day. So anyway, I'll run around the van. So it goes from there. That's one pair of curtains there. And then another track, and I've got my curtains pulled back to there, and another separate track goes to there. One track at the back with two curtains, one on either side, and then again on this side. And this is the sliding door curtain, and the track fits there. That's where I cut away little notches, but you don't need to do that in the video you hopefully just watched. It shows you that you just need to heat it up with a hairdryer. You don't have to cut it at all, but never mind, it fits well. And I've held my curtains back. I've secured them to the van with these little, I can't remember the name of them, type of magnet. There are lots of little ones all stacked on top of each other, and they're very, very strong, and they're really good. They work. I will think of some kind of system, maybe with a stick that goes across the bottom of each window with magnets on. So when you close the windows, you can put the stick on and then they secure the windows to the side of the van, because of course the walls go like this, they're concave, so there's a little bit of a gap when the curtain drops down. Not too big a problem, but it would be better if they were pulled towards the windows better. So if I think of something, then I'll make another video to show you what I've made. But I'm really happy with the windows, the curtains and the track. They work really nicely, really smooth. Oops, the battery, the magnet has just come off. Pop it back on again. And the fabric that they're made from is very, very easy to wash, to wipe clean. I did get some blood on because I cut my finger. And I got some blood on it, and I was thinking, oh no, it's never going to come out. And I got it on the pale part, and it was on for like 12 hours altogether, because it was during a little trip that we went on. And I thought that's it, that it was ruined. One curtain's ruined already. But I got home and I sponged it, and it came off almost immediately. I couldn't believe it. So I would recommend getting your curtains made by a proper Campervan curtain maker, because they will have the best fabric for this kind of use. It will be kind of sponge clean fabric, and that's what you want. So anyway, job done, all finished.